10 years ago today, on July the 26th, 2007, I uploaded this video to YouTube. So this is the 10th anniversary of this video, which is the one that really got me into the idea of doing YouTube videos. I'll show it to you now. So that 40-second video is the one that really got me enthusiastic about making YouTube videos, because on YouTube you get all the analytics, the data about who's watching things. And the thing that fascinated me was watching people all around the world in countries I'd never visited, watching this silly video of my toaster. In fact, the reason I put it up in the first place, the place I worked at the time, I was saying, have you seen that YouTube thing? People watch any old nonsense on YouTube. And I said, I'm going to put a video on there to demonstrate this fact, and we'll see how many people watch it. Well, up to today, it's had 619,000 views. I didn't earn a penny off this video at all, because unfortunately the Blue Danube that's in the soundtrack was copyrighted, and therefore I was unable to earn any revenue off it. So never earned a penny for that. However, the version I've just shown you now, I've used one of YouTube's own recordings of the Blue Danube, which means I can now earn a little bit of revenue off this video as a whole. But yeah, that was the one that really got me into it. Now, that was back in July 26, 2007. Following on from that, I had made a couple more videos on that channel, and then ended up making the Techmoan channel. That was on a different channel at the time. I can't remember what I called it at the time. I've changed the name of it a few times over the years. In fact, I think I've lost access to it now, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I ended up starting the Techmoan channel in 2009. May the 31st is when I put the first video up there. I think I'd had the website a short while before then, and that was a video of me walking around my scooter at the time, which was a Piaggio MP3 three-wheel scooter. Now, some of these old videos are unlisted. People say, why are your videos unlisted? Well, it's because they're not really relevant anymore. I mean, an old video about a 2009 Piaggio MP3 that's pretty poorly put together, to be honest, with a shaky camera and everything, isn't something that I really want to be on my channel. I do get questions about some very old videos, and people say, well, this camera isn't very good, why are you recommending it? Well, I was recommending it back in 2011. It's moved on a bit since then, so yes, things get out of date sometimes. Anyway, so that was the first video on the Techmoan channel. But moving on, the first HD video I put out is this one. And it was only by accident, really. It was in HD. I was demonstrating different lenses on a camera, and this was in 2009, July 2009. So that's the first HD one. It'll be 720p HD. It's quite hard to process HD at the time. I was doing it on a MacBook that I've got down here somewhere. I should have perhaps got it out and demonstrated it, but it's a bit of an old chunky MacBook. But it's the only thing that I had that could edit the video. The reason I do editing, by the way, on iMovie is because I've always used it. I know it's not the best tool for the job, but it's the one that I've got used to. And besides which, I often say to people, well, Charlie Chaplin films were edited with a razor blade, as was Citizen Kane, so they didn't need all whiz-bang effects for those. And some of the best films ever made over the years were edited with a razor blade and some glue. So you should better put something pretty decent together with whatever package you use. And I've just got used to iMovie, which is why I'm still using it on a Mac. But anyway, yeah, so 2009 was the first HD video in 720p. The first 4K video, I'm jumping forward a little bit now, I put out as a test video in October 18th, 2015. So you can see things moved on a little bit. I really started shooting in 4K permanently at the start of 2016 because I like the idea. It didn't actually take up too much resources on the computer I was using. It was able to cope with it because I'd sort of maxed out a notebook. You can't see it, but it's just in a stand over here linked into this. So this is all running off a MacBook Pro now with sort of maxed out memory and things from 2014. But yeah, 2015, put out the first 4K video. I like doing it because you can zoom in a little bit on the clips. Some of the shots that I do, I'll take them and they look all right. Then afterwards, I realised there was something just in the corner of the shot where you can crop in on the image a little bit more and you don't hardly lose any resolution. Most people are watching it in 1080p at best, or on their phones at worse resolutions than that. Now, the first video I did where I kind of realised that I could make money out of this was when I did this Nixie watch video. This was a gamble at the time because this thing cost me, I think it was like $450 or something. I had to pay import duty and things. So a very expensive thing, and I couldn't really afford it at the time. I had to stick it on a credit card. But over the years, it's now up to 2,608,144 views of this video from, let's see if I can get my date up here, March 15th, 2010. So it took perhaps a year or so to earn back the money through advertising that it had cost me, but it did get shared on a lot of different websites, and as a result people watched it and I got the ad revenue back off that. So I realised that even if I bought something that was sort of ridiculously expensive, over time I could afford to pay it back, and that's what got me into buying more retro and ridiculous things I couldn't really afford, because I'll be able to make the money back off them eventually. At least that's the idea. There's been a lot of things over the years that I've made no money at all. I've spent £1,000 and put a video out and it's brought in like £100. So, you know, it's not always guaranteed, but just shows you that it is possible if you get the right subject. Now, one of the videos that I liked particularly that I put out is only a short video, 1 minute 11 seconds. I put it out back in 2011. It was just showing people how you can put banana plugs into a amp that is had the banana plug sockets plugged up. In Europe, they plug these sockets up, so you're supposed to use the binding posts on these because the end of the socket is the same size as a Euro plug, a power plug. So for some reason the manufacturers have to sort of plug those up. So I just made this quick video just showing people that you can pull out the little bit out the end of those and you could use banana plugs in European amps easily. And the amount of thanks I get for that, that's a really rewarding video. Just a minute and odd in length, but just people getting in touch with me every week saying, oh, thank goodness for that. I bought all these banana plugs and they wouldn't fit in my back of my amplifier. Last week I had 2 people get in touch. So it's really nice when something like that happens, you know, when you realise you've actually helped people out with one of your videos. Now, I did a bike review of my motorcycle. This was back in 2012. And people have asked me quite often since why I don't do more bike reviews. And the answer is because I've still got this bike. This is the bike I kept. I liked it so much. There was no point testing any others. And that's part of the problem with making these videos. If you do want to keep reviewing something over and over again, you have to keep buying things that you don't really need. I could buy, or test, I suppose, lots of different motorbikes, but I found the one that suits me. So yeah, I did a lot of action camera reviews and things for cameras that I don't need because I've already got ones that I like, and just to keep up on it. Anyway, that was back in 2012. Moving on a little bit to 2013. Now this video is the last one without a proper intro on it. I'll show you how it started. It sort of had just a bit of a graphic thing out of iMovie with a background that I nicked off something or other and sped up and changed the colour on. But that was the intro I used to have. And then the very next video, March 20th 2013, was the first one where I'd got my reel-to-reel intro on it. Now this changed quite a few times over the years. You can see a bulging on the image here, and there's a zoom in. The second one I didn't have a zoom in, and the guy got in touch and said he could sort out the bulging for me. So, but you know, that was the first one with the reel-to-reel intro. So if you think that's March 2013, well, by May 2013, I ended up getting another reel-to-reel machine because I just like messing around with the other one so much. I ended up getting that Akai GX625. Still got that, it's in the attic, but it started fading on one of the channels. I did try and repair it, never quite got it right, but I wanted a two-way reel-to-reel player, which is why I've got the Pioneer RT909 instead at the moment in my hi-fi rack. But yeah, that's kind of where the hi-fi thing started. I think back in 2013, just buying old pieces of equipment, and you can see where I've got to in just a few years. It's gone a bit insane. Now, what's this last one? Oh yeah, this is the first appearance of the Muppet characters in a video. I'll tell you when this is from, actually. This is November 13th, 2011 in an old video. Now, the reason that I use them is because I just work on my own. I don't have any help from anyone at all. I'm the cameraman, the sound man, the person on screen, the editor. So when I needed other people, well, I didn't have other people, so I ended up using these two. It's very hard doing two at once. You can see it's kind of... I don't want to give it away, but yeah, it's quite awkward anyway. But yes, that's the first time they appeared, 2011. Now, that video... just a video about a dash cam, nothing particularly amazing, but I didn't use them after that for quite a while, and then they came back in a later video. People like them. People asked where were they, so I started including them more frequently. But they do take a lot of effort to make those end clips, so I don't do them too much, just perhaps one a month or so. This month I think there's two, but that's really hard work for me. Anyway, so this was supposed to be my 10th anniversary video, and I was going to do something a little bit more elaborate than just showing you a few things on a screen. And then I realised when I looked back at the old channel, there was an earlier video, which I put up in August 24th, 2006. So it's not my 10th anniversary after all, it's nearly my 11th. There was about a year between those first two videos. Of course, YouTube wasn't really that exciting a thing back then. I think I just put this video up about a fruit machine I got, so that I could share it on a forum that I was on at the time. I don't think I was really doing it just for using YouTube, because of course YouTube was just like a video sharing thing. So you'd embed it on there, or you'd put it on there and embed it somewhere else. You wouldn't really think about going to YouTube to watch things. Of course, how it's changed over the years. But yeah, so that was the first video I put out. It's jerking around now. It didn't used to do that. I don't know, maybe they've changed the encoding on that or something. But yeah, that's it. 10 years on YouTube. What else can I say? Here's to another 10. Anyway, thanks for watching. Right, so I was just editing that section together, and I remembered there was something I really wanted to mention in this video that I haven't done, so I'm going to add it in here at the end. People often ask me, why do I call the channel Techmoan? And I'll be honest with you, I don't know why anymore. It was a long time ago. It was 2009. I was sat at a computer trying to come up with a name for a website at the time, and for some reason this word popped into my head, and I looked to see if it was there, and it was, so I registered it. Now, there's a few things that probably made me think of it. There was a camera shop very near to where I worked called Techno. There was a chain of them in the UK that since closed. There was also the company Techmo, which makes your Techmo Super Bowl, the arcade, and Nintendo people, Techmo, so they're hanging around there in somewhere. And I was sort of maybe thinking of Tech Talk or Tech Whinge or Tech Complain or something, and I wanted something short. The moan bit perhaps is because people often said I had a moany voice, a kind of whiny moany voice, so I thought, well, that's kind of me. So we've got Tech and me, the Tech moaner, you know, and so I kind of contracted the two things together. Also, when I thought of it, I thought, well, hold on, that's quite easy to remember for people. Tech, obviously, and moan. I mean, it's a weird word, and therefore it kind of sticks in the head a little bit. And the more I kind of thought about it, I thought, yeah, this is all right. So it doesn't really mean anything. I've said over the years that perhaps I was intending to have the channel with a bit of technology and a bit of kind of moaning, which in the UK means complaining, whinging, going on about stuff a little bit. And I did sort of have a bit of an idea where I could sort of do things like that, but in the end I never did, because it just seemed a bit negative. But yeah, have a good old moan in the UK means have a good old complain, a good old whinge about things. But in the end I didn't use that. But yeah, I was trying to sort of back engineer it to the word that came up in my head. But if you say to someone, oh, have a look at Techmoan, the words kind of seem to fit together. They're both 4 letters in length. It doesn't sound like anything else in particular. Someone say, what, Techmoan? And you go, yeah, Techmoan, oh, right. And it's kind of just an easy thing to type in. If you go and put the web address in, you only have to put in the first 6 characters, I think, and it'll fill in the rest on Google, because there was no one else using anything kind of similar. So, yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Just like Google really doesn't really have much of a meaning. I know Googleplex and things, but still. Amazon, I mean, they're not exactly based in the jungle, are they? Let's have a look at Twitter. You know, none of these things mean anything. It was at the stage also when you try to come up with a web address and most of the good ones are taken. If I wanted to come up with tech reviews or tech videos or something, it would have been used up. I had to come up with something pretty quickly. And a lot of the names at the time, people started using things without the vowels in them to, like shrinking the names down. But of course, those are hard to tell people how to spell. If you say to someone, go to Techmoan, you could quite often spell it, I'd imagine. You wouldn't have to sort of spell it out to anyone. But yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. It's pointless. In fact, I kind of regret it a little bit, because the moaning bit sounds like I'm complaining about stuff. I've even had to put a tagline on the site now. It says, all tech, no moaning. I don't know. Look, sometimes these names just stick. A lot of the times people don't like names they come up with, but they stick with them. I kind of still do like it because it's so memorable, and it's just like people are used to it now. But if you try and analyse it and say, well, what does it mean? Why is it there? It's just a jumble of letters that's easy to pronounce and easy to memorise, and that's it. Anyway, cutting all this nonsense short, the quick answer is it doesn't mean anything. There's no point behind it. It's just short and memorable. But that's it for the moment, definitely this time. As always, thanks for watching.